I lived in a flat on Kentish Town Road, which I shared with other friends that had already lived in London that I knew. And the flat was a typical studenty type flat of the time. It was very ramshackle. I remember once somebody came round to test the damp.
Dingwalls.
Wait, oh no, just remembered another memory. Sorry. My first memory of being in Camden was when I was very small, because my dad lived just near Camden Market, Camden Lock. And I remember he used to take me when I was probably about maybe 3. He used to take me from the flat where he lived to the market, and we'd get something tasty to eat. And I just remember holding his hand, walking down near Regent's Park to the Lock, which was really fun.
It was the first building in this bit, and then next door was the other building.
Wasn't like this posh new. I wouldn't say it was as big. It wasn't high. It was only on one level.
People with learning difficulties worked here because they did campaign to keep their building.
It was the Camden Society, and they were here with a youth group that my daughter would come to every Monday after school.
You had dancing, we used to do arts and craft with Action Space, cooking in mail out, parents group, our group, your group.
The mental health service before was just adjacent from where the centre is now. It was called Highgate Day Centre, and it was there for about, I think, almost just over 40 years, and it was really lovely. It was a lovely centre, but the building itself it had asbestos, and it was kind of it had outlived its usefulness, I think.
There were always quite a few people around. Lots of people clearly used it as a place of gathering. A lot of people with learning disabilities used it as a place to gather. I remember there was an area where you could get tea and coffees and lunches, etc. There were activities. There were lots of really good staff around working with people. The building was ramshackle, but it was always a very pleasant place to come to. You always felt that it was somewhere that the people who came here enjoyed.
My mum used to give me lots and lots of help to get things done.
To get help living independently before this centre, I went to Highgate Day Centre, and at the time, when I first started, I was renting a bedsit that wasn't good living conditions really, and I wasn't really coping. But they helped me. The manager got me a place in a hostel, which was it was hard in the hostel, but it was a big step up, it was a big improvement. And I'd go every day to the day centre, so that's sort of how I got used to living independently, because I'd never really done it before. And then after the hostel, I managed to get a council flat, and now I've got a dog, and I've lived there 5 years, and it's brilliant.
There was nowhere to, first of all, find out what was available. You were concerned about whether that particular venue would be suitable for somebody with epilepsy, like my daughter. You were concerned that actually she wouldn't have a good time. You were concerned that she wouldn't be well protected, she wouldn't be safe.
We were involved in visiting a number of sites that were going to be the new centre for the CIL, and actually had quite long talks about one or two of them on how the building should be changed.
I was involved in meetings with the architects who actually built the building to begin with.
But I did get very involved in a lot of meetings, and they were the transition meetings. They were before the building was actually open.
To do shopping is like, you know those video games with zombies, it's a bit like that.
hard work getting from A to B nowadays because of this situation. Being more kind of built up. You're also going to get more cars, cycles, people on wheelchairs, push chairs. But Camden has got bigger.
There's a lot of youngsters and there's a lot of crowds of youngsters all together, and it can scare some people when they're walking past, and they can take them, some of them take the mickey out of people learning difficulty and that.
As I've gone from service to service, it's literally felt like a bridge collapsing behind you as you go along, because everywhere I go, you hear a few months later, a few months down the line, oh, this staff member's gone, or that's closing now, and there's not really. There was a lot more places, a lot more options when I first got into services.
Actually, in so many ways, things have got better. But with them all getting better, it opens many, 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 many more challenges. And that's what we find. With our daughter, she goes out into the community much more than she ever did when she was younger, and that's what we want for her. But a lot of members of the public are not ready. So even when it comes to accessing a restaurant or a cafe, she loves her cafes, and there aren't ramps still available. That's a very basic thing. That's a basic thing.
There is a tendency, and hopefully it's a tendency that's being moved away from, of just thinking all people are the same, all people have the same difficulties, all people have the same needs, all people have the same opportunities, and that's simply not true. You know, just as everywhere else in the world, everybody is different, and how you respond and how you recognise that is crucially important if a building like this and a project like this is going to work.
It makes me and all the other people feel independent.